You didn't think I'd let you get through this month without a pumpkin recipe, did you? Well, today we're making keto pumpkin donuts. And before you get all out of whack, pumpkin, sure, it might be a little bit higher in carbohydrates than most vegetables, but it has lots of nutrition. It's packed with vitamin A, so it's good for your eyesight, has lots of antioxidants in it too. Plus, the amount of pumpkin that we use for each pumpkin recipe that I put out is so small, and so your carb count really isn't going to be that high. So definitely do not worry about carbs with pumpkin in these recipes. So let's get started. This keto donut recipe just requires a few simple ingredients. We have 1.5 cups of almond flour, a half a cup of coconut flour. The sweetener I'm using in this recipe is monk fruit, but you can substitute for erythritol or whatever sweetener you have. And then we have baking powder, baking soda, xanthan gum, salt, and nutmeg. And of course we need pumpkin. Just make sure you get the one that's 100% pumpkin and not pumpkin pie filling. And then you also need sour cream and buttermilk. And I know this is strange, but we're going to be using mozzarella cheese, which is going to serve as a binder to hold everything together. I promise you it does not taste cheesy. We're going to start by mixing together our dry ingredients. So I have both flours going in along with the other dry ingredients. We're going to whisk it together until it's combined and then set it aside. In a separate bowl, we're going to add in our wet ingredients. So I have the pumpkin, the sour cream, and the buttermilk going in. And oh, and I forgot to tell you guys, there's actually egg in this recipe. So you need 1 full egg and then an egg yolk too. And we're going to mix that together until everything's smooth. Now, if you don't have buttermilk at home, you can actually make your own by just adding a tablespoon of lemon juice and a cup of heavy cream and letting it sit for 5 minutes, and that just works like regular buttermilk. Or if you don't have that, just add more sour cream. Now comes our mozzarella cheese. We're going to melt this in the microwave for about a minute until it's nice and melted. Now we're going to add everything together. So the wet ingredients goes into the dry ingredients, and then we're going to add that mozzarella cheese and mix it all together until it's uniform and you don't have any clunks of mozzarella cheese hanging around. Now this donut recipe we're actually going to be baking instead of frying. So the donut pan that I recommend is by Wilton, and I'll have it linked down below for you guys, but it's a non-stick donut pan. I do recommend that you spray it though before, just so that the donuts don't stick though. But what I like to do is roll it into a ball that's about like 1.5 inches in diameter, and then just mold it, press it down in, flatten it in, and mold it around into the donut mold. And I find that works best, rather than just trying to make a ring shape first and then wrapping it into it. And I'm also going to have this full recipe listed down below in the description box. Next, we're going to bake these in the oven, 350 degrees for 12 to 14 minutes, and we're going to let them cool in the baking pan for just a little bit before transferring them to a wire rack. Now onto the glaze. I have some confectioner's swerve in here, some heavy cream, more buttermilk, a little bit of vanilla, and some pumpkin pie spice. And the buttermilk is just there just to cut out that little cooling effect that the confectioner's swerve might provide. And you want to get it just so it's a perfect glazy type consistency. So if it's too thick, then just thin it out with more buttermilk. Then we're going to dip each of our donuts in there and set it on the wire rack. And then you can choose whatever toppings you want. I like to add a little bit of nuts to mine, but there's actually sugar-free sprinkles out there that would be fun. You could even dye this glaze too if you want some fun Halloween-y colors, like some purple or orange would be really pretty. Just have fun with the recipe. Now that you know how to make keto pumpkin donuts, the next time you go to a work function or a family function where there's donuts, you should bring these pumpkin donuts instead. You're probably going to turn a lot of people onto the keto diet that way just because they're so delicious. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. I have lots of awesome keto recipes coming out. Give this video a thumbs up if you like donuts, and let me know down in the comments if you've ever tried keto donuts before and were they good or not. And make sure you try this recipe because I guarantee you're gonna love it. Bye.